Hello, and welcome to Candidates Up Front. This is a public interest program of Berks Community Television and the League of Women Voters of Berks County. I'm Judith Cranis. Our November 4th municipal election is coming up, and voters will be selecting judges, school directors, township officials, borough officials, city officials, and these officials affect a lot of things in our lives. Most importantly, they decide how our tax dollars are spent. That's important to all of us. So if you are eligible to vote and you are not registered, please register by the deadline of October 20th. You can do that at the Berks County Services Center, which is on Court Street in downtown Reading, or you can do it online. Online, please make sure you are using the official site for the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Search for PA.gov, that's PA and then that little period, and then gov, and then go to the search bar and put in voting, and that will take you to the website. You can check your voting status, you can register to vote, you can change your party, you can locate your polling place, or you can apply for an absentee or a mail-in ballot. And the deadline to apply for that mail-in ballot is October 28th. Now, let me just note that that doesn't give you a lot of time to receive it and get it back, so I would do it earlier. Everyone who cares how their money is spent needs to participate. And it helps if you've met the candidates. And that's why the League is interviewing candidates, those who wanted to be interviewed, and only in the contested races. For each race, the candidates will get the same basic questions and will have the same amount of time to answer them. So let's begin.
Hello, I'm Nan Dunford, a member of the League of Women Voters of Berks County. The featured office today is Reading City Council President. The President of City Council is elected citywide and must be a resident of the city. The President presides at council meetings and performs those duties needed to organize council functions. She or he has the same voting powers as the 6 other district council members. The president interacts with the mayor and other governmental entities and represents the voice of council. The position is part-time. The term is 4 years. The current annual salary is $8,750. There are 2 candidates, Democrat Donna Reed and Republican Evelyn Morrison, and you vote for one. Each candidate's views are their own and not those of the League or BCTV. Today, our candidate is Donna Reed. Welcome, Donna.
Welcome, Nan. It's good to see you again.
It's good to see you, too.
Roles are a little reversed here.
Yes, yeah, that's true. Please tell us why you believe it is important for you to serve as Reading City Council President.
I will do that, but if you don't mind, I'm going to make one quick correction. The annual salary for City Council President is $6,800 plus. It's not $8,600, so it's $6,800 and some.
Okay.
So
it's different from the City Council members?
Yes, City Council members are $6,300, I believe. I have to double check, but it's in the 6,000 area, so I just want people to realize that.
Thank you.
That's in the charter, and of course we adhere to the charter, you know.
Okay.
I am the incumbent City Council President. It's going on 2.5, almost 3 years now that I've served in that capacity. I have been on council a long time, as many people will be quick to put out or note. Most of the time I served as the district representative for District 5, what I like to call Reading's Great Northwest. I believe I know the city as well as anyone knows it. I have been not just a public servant in terms of government elective office, but also, as you know, because I covered you when you were a councilwoman, I have served as a journalist here in the city of Reading for starting in 1976 when I first started covering City Hall as a backup reporter, but also being a part of the city media between mostly at Reading, the old Reading Eagle Company, partially a few years at 69 News Berks Edition as their assignment editor during a hiatus from City Council. And I think the media work I've done, plus being in the neighborhoods over the course of many years, gives me both the knowledge of the city as well as the practical experience of working in government, knowing the charter, knowing the duties of the council in different departments.
Some of these questions may seem a little repetitive, but maybe more specifically, are there specific skills you bring to this office?
Well, I think I bring an abundance of institutional knowledge and experience. And again, partially because of the years that I have served on council as well as the leading up to that. But certainly when you think of the things we've experienced over the last 2 decades, the consent decree, because of the city's issues with pollution and not handling the sewer treatment facility properly back in the day. We've worked with that. That's been a challenge, but we have undertaken the rehabilitation and reconstruction to some degree of Fritz's Island, and it's been very successful, largely attributing to Carl Gefkin, our former city manager, who argued against rebuilding the whole thing and rehabilitating it, and we saved hundreds of millions of dollars. So there was a council that heard the experience of an appointed official who had experience in government as you do now from your standpoint, and ferreting out the right people for positions. We also went through Act 47 for 10 years, starting under Mayor Tom McMahon, ending under this administration, through several of us different people who served on council over those years, different managing directors and department directors. That was a very intense time, but I'm proud to say we exited that on July 14th, 2022, unfortunately a month after we lost Council President Jeff Waltman, who was integral in leading the charge because of his experience in wealth management and the finance world. We worked real hard. We got out of that. We now have a surplus, and the importance, I think, of me staying in this position is I'm the one on council who's been through it and can flag, I believe, when unnecessary spending occurs. Can't say that everybody's going to agree with me, but I can say, wait a minute, do we really need to do this?
I was immensely proud of the city.
It was a lot of hard work, and it was a lot of sacrifice on the part of our staff. Everyone from public works to police to fire to everyone, all the middle managers. You know, they weren't parts of bargaining units, as you know. Those folks, you know, no increases. It was everybody paid the price, but we tried to keep taxes down, and it was a challenge, but we came through it, and I'm real proud of everyone I worked with on that.
The next question is important to me. Is also important to me. What is your personal philosophy about public service? And I think about the times we're in and the role of council in the community.
I think everyone who serves an elective office, and I hope appointive office, but we're talking elective office at this point, understands there's a reason we call it the public trust. The public trust. We've seen in Reading in the 60s, we've seen more recently, when that public trust has been broken. And people have paid the price, as they should. But people elect you to be their voice, to do the right thing, not to say, hey buddy, aren't we friends? Let's go out and have, you know, a drink, or let's go do this together. No, it's you're serving the public, the people, everywhere from the children of the city to the seniors of the city, to those who are property owners, to those who are homeless. You're their face in the community. And if you don't take that position seriously, that you are there to serve, that you are a public servant, and if you're doing it so that you can rise up the ladder and be on Facebook posts and do this to yourself and have everybody say, oh, I saw you on that Facebook post yet again today. If that's the reason you're doing it, for self-aggrandizement or ego, you shouldn't be doing it.
This next question has a practical bent. Right now, what do you think City Council should do in the short term to improve governance and quality of life in Reading? And also, what's your vision of a longer time frame?
Well, I think we have key issues. We have economic development issues. We're sitting in the downtown. We could have a much more vibrant downtown. So we have a new CD director, David Barr, who has incredible experience in the State Department, international work. And if you can work in government in D.C., through different administrations, you can apply those skills here. Yes. And so he's also an East Reading boy, born and bred. His mom still lives over there. So he came from this incredible career to serve here. So I'm very hopeful that his leadership will take us in a stronger direction, both in terms of downtown development and economic development in some of our key parcels. We have CRIZ. That's incredible. Peter Rye's leading that effort. We have the old Dana Yards. We have the old Glidden property. We have downtown. Those are all in the CRIZ acreage areas, so we should be able to see some real changes there. So short-term and long-term is economic development. The two buildings up the street, they're not going to come down. The old bank building and Callaway one, because we will be standing in front of bulldozers. They're fine. A little bit of roof problem, they're fine. They should be the key to this this block, as Alverny, where we're sitting, is the key to the western end of this block. In terms of quality of life, we as council can legislate, but we cannot enforce. So I am hopeful administration listens to us and here's the folks out there who, everything from blighted properties they live next to the noise elements, that they can't sit in their front porch, or their kids can't sleep at night because somebody's playing loud music. Those are all quality, quality of life things that we have to work with the administration and with the police department and with property maintenance and others to enhance. But again, under this form of government, council has no administrative powers. It is purely legislative. That's hard for people to understand. I get that.
Oh, yeah, it is hard for people to understand. When you talk to people, specifically residents from all the neighborhoods in the city, are there themes, are there things that just come up over and over again in the present time about what they want? Quality of life.
We hear that. We hear that consistently. You know, there's one blighted property on our street, and it's causing all sorts of problems, from, you know, squatters maybe starting fires to keep warm in the winter, to pulling down property values, to you know, the high weeds that shouldn't be there. Those are things. Crime, which actually has gone down, and I'm so sorry we lost Chief Vasquez. He's gone back to Tampa, but I can't say enough good things about his policing and the impact it had on our city, because it has improved. Do we still have crime? Yes, of course. But the situation is much better, and I'm hopeful that whoever takes that position will follow in his steps. But certainly, you know, and also, people don't want to see inappropriate spending. They don't want to see their taxes go up at a time when inflation and everything else is kicking their pocketbook, you know. So that's something we have to, as we go into the budget time, and you know, having gone through this, both in Reading and your other iterations, think about how we're able to hold the line as much as possible and not increase folks' taxes.
Right, right. So there's a current issue that we can talk about. There's a proposal, or actually a project that seems to be going forward from the news, with a city ice skating rink at City Park. Would you like to tell the viewers about that?
Yeah, that's obviously quite controversial, and understandably so. I was at the public meeting, and frankly, there were more folks opposed than in favor. Especially in City Park, because it's a strong neighborhood up there, and concerns about gatherings and things like that. Also, the beauty of City Park, as you know, was bequeathed to the citizens of Reading by Thomas and Richard Penn as a green space, as a park, as a place to go to relax.
I hadn't thought about that part.
And in the old days, as in long before you and me, there was an ice skating rink. It was up where the Black Top League is now, the basketball courts. Different time, different world. Different issues, different climate, where it was colder in the winter for ice skating rinks. Where this is being proposed, some century-old oak trees would have to come down. It would take away, if you drive up there, you see the kids and grown-ups and everyone enjoying that green space, tossing balls, kids running around. That's what parks should be. Everything doesn't have to be organized. Kids can still play. The kids coming out of the schools, you know, when school's dismissed, walking through and enjoying it. I think two things. One is, I'm not convinced that our money should go for a tax rink. Not tax rink, I'm sorry, that was a Freudian slip. For an ice skating rink. We have a beautiful arena down here. We had the agreement when a hockey team wasn't playing that the public could use it. I think that should continue. And if we do have an ice skating rink, there's been talk about either hillside, where the pool's no longer there, and that's a flat surface. That's the Christmas on the mountain situation. How nice would that be?
How nice.
So you have some of the utilities and flat surface that could be used there. And there's also talk right next to us here with the buildings that came down, maybe as we see in Philadelphia, as we see in New York, an ice skating rink in the downtown that would maybe then help adjacent businesses, would be an ancillary to the businesses here to help them. But, you know, there's costs involved, maintenance, construction, you name it, and also costs for people to rent skates. It's not, you don't just step on there with your shoes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
What's your view on what makes an effective law enforcement and community policing program for the city of Reading?
Well, I think we're moving, again, Chief Vasquez made great strides there. I think we have one of our best police departments we've ever had. However, they're very short-staffed, and this is going on all over the place. It's not just Reading. Reading's doing a really strong work in recruitment, going out to outlying areas, to colleges, to job fairs, to recruit, and it's very hard because a number of circumstances are creating the issue, not just here. I thought it was interesting last year when I was over in Reading, England, on the side of their police cars were hiring. So even abroad, they're having the same situation. We have some good things that are happening here. The police are more out in the street. They do the cones with cops, ice cream cones with the kids down at the library, coffee with cops here and there. More out in the community than had been happening before. We do have positions where there's intervention when perhaps there's a mental health issue or something that, you know, it's not just, you know, beyond just our police who are very good at diffusing situations, having professionals in the mental health field working with our police department to make things better.
So what do you, I just need to ask this, so has there been any analysis of why crime has gone down in the city?
I'm sure there probably has, and I apologize for not knowing the details on that, but I would assume the efforts in the last year and a half that the chief have put together, including the social work,
the community policing,
community liaison, community policing, and all these things, I think that has contributed to it. And again, we still need to be better than we are,
maybe
but
some data
but we're
driven.
making those strides, and knock on wood, that continues.
So if elected, what are your priorities for the next term?
Well, economic development, clearly. I mean, we shouldn't always be saying, and we are saying it because it's true, what happened here when we look at Lancaster, when we look at Allentown. Why are we not more competitive? And I think you have good folks at the chamber right now. Lucine, who was a former councilwoman and former county commissioner, she's leading the chamber, and that alliance is very good. You know, on the Berks level, working more strongly with the Berks IDA in the county. We have challenges with our redevelopment authority that we have to really look at and consider how that can move forward. But again, CRIS is so critically important. We have a strong board. Peter Rye is the leader of that board. His experience leading Brentwood all these years and working in the international community as well as nationally. I mean, we couldn't have a stronger Reading resident leading that, and very good people on that board, from John Massano to Shannon Leonard to all sorts of folks who have really stepped forward and are working hard. So,
in my experience, that's what it takes when people care enough about the city.
Absolutely.
To get, and maybe that's what we were missing. I don't know.
I think there's been, and I think it's the national tenor as well as locally. You know, people seem to, if you look at social media posts, especially Facebook, people have a field day knocking down Reading.
I know.
Anytime any good thing happens, well, this won't last. This won't.
Yeah.
I mean, I would truly love to take each one of those people and say, go on a walk with me. Let's walk all through the city. And then you look at people in the face who keep their places nice, who love their children, walk them to school. You tell me that, I mean, the phraseology that's used sometimes towards the city and its people gets me insane. My son is almost 35 now. When he was young, this is before social media and stuff, he would hear it on the radio and the local talk shows. And I remember he was like 6 or 8 and said to me, Mom, why does everybody not like me? And I said, well, what are you talking about? And he said, well, they say if you live in Reading, you're awful, so they don't like me then, do they? And I think, what impact does this have on kids? A generation ago, it had that impact. You know, think, people, of what you're doing and what you're saying and the nobility that's in every person somewhere. And that's what's here in the city. And
The families
I would challenge
basically
anybody
good.
to walk with me through Bear Park, to walk with me south of Penn, to walk with me in Center Park. It's, you know, around Reading High, there's really good people. Are there problems? Yeah, I'm not a Pollyanna, but there's more good than bad, and I'm very confident the city can prevail.
How are you financing your campaign this time?
Well, it's been a little different this time. I was well financed in the primary. A lot of, and you can see the campaign finance reports. We're all very transparent. It's on the city website, county website. Go look them up. I encourage everybody to do it. It was a little uncomfortable for me because normally I don't really raise a lot of money, but there were folks who were very concerned and wanted me to continue to serve. And I think had Jeff been here, it might have been the same thing with Jeff or Marcia,
Yeah.
Chris Albert, or any of those folks. And they were very good about funding me and doing much more of an outreach than I've ever done in terms of billboards and that kind of thing. The general, you'll see it's more like I'm used to doing. 2 years ago when I won the general election, I spent a total of $150 citywide for that election. Part of the time, as many people know, and this is Breast Cancer Awareness Month going into October, get checked up. I was in the hospital. I'd had a toxic reaction to a chemo drug. So when I should have been out campaigning, I was over in West Reading and Reading Hospital and medical ICU thinking, oh, I guess I'm not going to get out there. But people were very good, and I appreciate their confidence in me when I spent a lot and when I didn't spend a lot. So, you know, the bottom line is, you know, I would hope after all these years, good, bad, or indifferent, people know who I am, how I've served, how I've acted. I think I'm fairly temperate in dealing with folks and situations. And
well, although that's
accessible.
A lovely closing statement, would you like to add more to a closing statement?
Well, you know, bottom line is this. I hadn't planned on running, and I'll be very candid.
I didn't know that.
I was sort of talked into it by many people, and I'm glad I did run in terms of I believe I could be the most effective for the city in the next term. Again, as a transitional person. You know, there are new folks on council, new energy. That's always great. But you should have the marriage of the institutional knowledge and the new energy so that when folks like me step back, there's folks with great new ideas. And bottom line is, love the city. That's why I'm still here. If I wasn't, I wouldn't be here. My son is raising his kids here. My little grandkids are part of the city. So it's personal for me, but it's also societal because I believe that we have a good community, and if I'm reelected, I'm going to be very honored to serve yet again.
Well, to wrap up, thank you, Donna Reed, for sharing your views with us. Viewers, please remember that there is another candidate for City Council President, Evelyn Morrison. You may vote for one, and you will find candidates up front on BCTV and its website and YouTube page. And thank you for watching Candidates Up Front.